Hello everybody, today we're back with Monster Hunter and today we're going to be going after, in my opinion, the worst fight to ever try and fight with a greatsword solo without using any really tools. We're going to be going, well, I guess you'll see, but this was probably my second worst fight in this entire series. Well, we'll see. I'll shut up now because it's a big cutscene.
Magdalas, S11 Ladis.
Otoruki Vitrikine.
Genie, Melodial no before.
Orano. Toto. Retiru wasna. There's none.
Okay, so we can all guess as to what we're going to be hunting then. Well, we gotta take down Legiana. Well, because we can't get further into the Vale. So, as I said, my first time through things, I might use something like poison knives if they give them to me in the stock thing. But generally speaking, I don't use flash pods. Of course, by this point in the game, I hadn't quite grasped it. This is one of those games where you can continually learn things, by the way. Like, I'm almost at 200 hours played. I'm still learning things. At this point, I gathered the whole, if it's in the air, shoot it with your slinger. Maybe sometimes it'll fall out of the air. I got that part. I just hadn't quite got the... You remember, like, in the first few videos, I said if there's red things on the floor, pick those up and you shoot them and they stumble? I didn't realize that yet. Would have made it a lot easier if I had. So basically, imagine one of the... I don't want to say ignorant. One of the most ignorant people, or one of the most ignorant ways of going about doing this. Because that's that's kind of how I did it. Because fighting Legiana as a greatsword user, without using anything to knock her out of the air, is, in my words, nothing short of infuriating. Now, maybe it's not as bad if you have like an insect glaive or a lance. So people are going to go, Lance, I thought that was pretty slow. You don't know how to use lance then. That's a very fast weapon. I love the lance. Hate the gun lance, but I love the lance. But yeah, it's because you can jump and mount things like nothing else on the lance. Anyway, yeah, Legiana. I had fought her before, as you saw my Palico had Legiana gear, but that was co-op, and I didn't do very good in that either. You also might notice I have gear. I'll show you exactly what I'm using at the end of this, in case you're wondering. I think at the time it was like Quick Sheath level 2, and I don't know if I had Critical Draw yet at this point or not, but I know I had Slugger, which at that point I thought Slugger was like flinch, like I made the monster flinch. I didn't quite put that together that was like you know, knockout. But I still, to this day, sometimes use that, but that's just because of tackle. But anyway, off to Legiana we go, and I'm probably going to raise my blood pressure watching this again. It infuriates me watching when I do really terrible, and I'm going to do really terrible. Not intentionally, of course, but this is off to a good start already. Just kind of double stun locked. And I wasn't going to take any chances. I thought he was going to really try and screw me hard there. So I just decided to panic dive. Because this thing has a habit, at this point in the game, I've only fought it twice. And it had a habit of screwing me over pretty bad. The first time, not so much. The co-op, kind of did pretty hard. If I recall correctly, because I do terrible against this thing I still, to this day, died to this thing. Like, it's not very often I cart. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging here. It's not very often that I cart. But this thing, if I'm going to cart, Legiana's the master of it when it comes to carting me. Now, the reason why, as you may or may not have noticed, you probably did, it doesn't stop moving. Hardly ever until it either gets knocked out of the air, which would, a flash pod, which you might notice they gave me 3 of, would come in very handy. Or if you manage to knock the crap out of her and, you know, you pick up the dragon pod, I don't think it's probably a piercing pod, probably, I don't know, but, the other thing is, greed. Greed is your undoing here. There are quite a few stories of people that play with me watching me get carted by Legiana because I go, oh, don't worry. I think she's gonna fly toward me. I'll just tackle through the ice stuff, and then I'll do it while she's charging with her big little, torpedo thing, where she just veers towards you, and I'll just hit her in the head doing that. To date, that's only worked twice, and nobody was there to see it either time. But I'm telling you, it did happen twice. But it's not very predictive. You can't really count on it as a greatsword user. You have to... It's very counterintuitive, and arguably one of the reasons why you don't really want to use a greatsword in this fight. But you kind of need to not charge up your attacks very often. That's why I don't think greatsword's very good against Legiana. It's one of the very few things it's not good against. But that's only until you don't know its things. Like, if you don't know when to swing, it's really bad. Once you are used to it, and can actually, ground it, it kills very fast. But since I'm doing this vanilla, or rather as close to vanilla as I could, hope, because I wasn't going to totally not use the poison knives. I think I did equip those. If I didn't, whoops, I threw something at her at some point. I thought it was the poison knives. It's been a long time since this happened. This was like still the first week the game came out, and this is like 2 months later, so like I said, I don't remember much about this myself except what I just watched while editing. But yeah, I thought, oh, I can just tackle and then land a true charge right after. No, she's too fast for you. She's too fast to try that. The number one piece of advice I can give if you're new to Legiana, bring null berries. Bring 10 of them. Be prepared to pick up more, because there's one like right to my left. Also, don't be afraid to not fully charge your true charge. It sounds, again, kind of counterintuitive and possibly a little stupid, but I probably could have fully charged it there, to be honest, but I wasn't sure of her, moveset yet. I had no idea when she was going to just go, screw you, and just take off, so I just took the for sure damage. But there are some fights where you don't always want to true charge at max. They're rare, and if you can manage it, you really want to max it, but if it's between a whiff and a level 1 true charge, I'll take the level 1 true charge. It's just hard to determine when, it's hard to determine when that's going to be. Now, normally, this is a situation you rejoice in. Normally. Nowadays. Back then, I hadn't really grasped how Zitsuyatsu worked yet. You saw him wandering his butt around here. But normally, when this happens, what you want to do is stay behind Zitsuyatsu, not Yaku, Zitsuyatsu, and then he'll just kind of ground the thing, and then he usually won't just keep flashing repeatedly. He'll just flash and he'll growl a couple times, and then maybe he'll flash again and then he leaves. Normally he just flashes once, sometimes twice, very rarely 3 times. And then you can just run up there and beat the crap out of Legiana when she's stunned. Unfortunately, if you're not paying attention all that well, it can kind of backfire at times. Oh, you expected it to happen right then. You think I choreographed this crap? No, I didn't choreograph this crap. But, yeah, this is one of those times where this was my fault. It don't feel like my fault, but it's my fault. Because I shouldn't have gotten in a position where I could have got hit that many times in a short period of time. I don't know if that's the way it works, or if it's just you get hit so many times, period. But I think it seems like it happens more when you get hit more often in a short period of time. I don't have any evidence to back that up, though. But yeah, you notice I'm standing behind Legiana. You don't want to stay behind Legiana unless you know that thing is not going to be flashing. I'm very lucky that it's not flashing right now, because if it did, oh, you don't want to imagine the sodium levels. But here's where I should be making a mad dash, or rather I should be, well, blocking. I think you can block that, by the way. I don't know if it works with the greatsword. I know it works with the lance, but I would imagine it works with the greatsword. So you might want to try that. If you're in a situation like that where you just go, oh damn, I'm going to get caught with the flash if I don't do something, try and block it. I know it works with some weapons. Don't know about greatsword though. But yeah, that could have went better. Could have went much worse. I lean toward could have went better though. That little skirmish. Because I could have taken advantage of Yaku more, but yeah. Also, I try and make it look virtuous. Oh, I'm not doing all of this. I'm not using the flash pods. Look how good I... No, this is not what this means. What this is I'm not taking advantage of things that I really should, which some might argue makes me a worse player at this point in the game. And they would be right. I was not a very good player at this point. Now, you could also make the argument, well, if you use all those advantages, it's just too easy then. Well, I guess. Well, however you want to play. That's why I fall with it. And I wanted a challenge. Kind of. By the end of this, I just wanted it dead, though. I'm not gonna lie. I just wanted it dead. Also, you might think this was intentional. That was a misclick. I honestly had no intention of doing that. I thought that was something to pick up on the ground. It was not, however. And I really should have went for the head, but I think if I went for the head, I actually would have missed. So, probably a good thing I didn't go for the head there. Oh, but you see how this fight's going. Try and chase it while it's in the air. Try not to get hit by the ice. And try and hit it wherever you can. That's basically the greatsword fight. Yeah. This was ballsy. And it actually worked. I'm surprised that worked. I'm surprised he didn't just light me up with ice. This was a good idea in theory here. I thought, well, he's just standing here. I can just sit in this green mist while it constantly heals me. He's just going to stand here, right? There you go. That's how you play the greatsword. That's how you do that. Also, like I said, you don't have to hit the head always. You can totally aim for something behind it. If you can get the angle right, you can usually hit stuff like that. That's one of my favorite things to do with the greatsword. With Legiana, it's a lot harder to do the tail cut going behind it, but you can do it. It's just a very thin target. But the biggest enemy of a greatsword, definitely getting too greedy. Oh, I can get a strong charge. I can get a strong charge. Oh, I can get a true charge. Yeah, no, don't push it. If it's not on the ground, don't even try for the strong charge. For those who don't know, the strong charge is the level, the tier 2 thing, like you see the first shot, the first slash, and then the second one, and then the true charge. I'm screwed, by the way, because a little nip got me stunned, which I thought was shit at the time. I'm just gonna tell you, I was like, of all the attacks to stun me, the little nibble stunned me, you dick. Also, fun fact for you, I also didn't know at this time, if you eat in the middle of something after you've eaten once, you don't get health. You need to bring max potions. I didn't have any max potions, so I'm sitting at 100 health right now. So not only before I had 150 health, now I have 100 health. Kind of gimped, really. And I'm going right into the danger zone, because after this is when he goes berserk soon enough, I believe. Also, wings are a very viable target on a lot of things, for the record, and they're very big a lot of the time, so you might accidentally end up hitting them. But don't feel too bad, because you need that webbing. I think it's webbing in the wings that Legiana gives. But as you can see, you might be going, well, this doesn't look very greatsword-like gameplay. Well, it is. It's just one of my asinine strategies of greatsword gameplay. Sometimes you gotta be hit and run. Not really where it excels. Well, I mean, it kind of excels in that, but not really. Also, oh boy, I don't even know where to start with this. Okay, so let's start going with the what should you do. Let's go with what you should do. Not now that you've watched what you shouldn't do for 15 minutes now. Let's go over what you should do. 1, use flash pods if you want to. 2, don't get greedy. 3, yeah, basically your number one thing here is not to do damage as a greatsword user. It's don't die. I know that sounds stupid and asinine. Well, that's obvious in every fight. You don't want to die. No, nuts. Well, yeah, but I'm telling you, it's a lot easier to die as a greatsword user here. Also, I had no idea where I was going. This took like 5 minutes, and I didn't want to just wander around because I didn't know where she nested. I got lost. At this point, I had no idea my way around the map. So, also, there's wedge beetles. Make use of them. Don't be like me. I don't think there's one right there, but for the record, when you go traversing the Coral Highlands, look up before you start climbing. Most of the time, you'll go, oh, sweet, and just, there you go. That'll save you hundreds of, okay, maybe not hundreds. That'll save you hours over the course of 100 hours, I'll tell you. Stupid, stupid, stupid Barok. Yes, it was. Not gonna argue with that one. That was pretty stupid. That was almost as bad as Boldrick's cunning plans. It's like trying to play... Oh, what's that? It's like trying to swat a fly with a lead pipe. That's the thing. That's the analogy I'm gonna make here. It's like trying to swat a fly with a lead pipe's too light. It's more like trying to hit a fly with like a barbell. That's what this fight's like. Okay, for the new players. Honestly, if I had to pick a weapon to recommend fighting this thing with, the most obvious one would be a heavy bowgun or a light bowgun, probably, but I don't know how people use those. I mean, heavy bowgun, I get, they do a lot of damage, but the light bowgun, it's like, oh my god, how do you people doing peanut damage? How do you guys put up with that? Says the man who's doing, like, no charge attacks on his greatsword. Oh yeah, well, you got me there. You got me there. Also, I should have been trying to utilize mounting attacks, but honestly, I didn't really see an opportunity to do so, so I guess I can't fault myself too hard for that one. There he goes. He's weak, or she's weak, so whatever, it's weak. And this was the point where I didn't know where it was. Now, if you saw up there, there was a wedge beetle. Could have went halfway up here, but instead I decided to skip all the way to the top of the thing, because again, I didn't know where the hell stuff was. Anyway, this is where it nests. It's all the way at the top of the mountain. Just keep going up. You'll find it. And, honestly, you can just put a trap underneath it right now, and trank it twice, and mission done. But he carded me. And my sense of macho-ness will not allow that to go unanswered. No, 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 no. We gotta kill it. Also, I had no traps or tranks, but that's not the narrative I'm forming here, okay? It's a matter of masculine pride. I had to kill it. He killed me, I gotta kill it. That's the way of things, okay? That's the way it goes in a man's mind. In video games. Also because I'm stubborn, but don't mention that. Anyway, this place isn't actually that bad to fight him. It's much worse to fight one of the later bosses here because of the color of the floor, but Legiana, it's not as bad. And that one's more just not being colorblind. And if you're colorblind, God help you in that one fight, because I don't know how the hell you're ever going to avoid some of those things. God help you, because you're not going to be able to avoid it. Unless you're like a lance user and then just get like the three-piece one armor, and then you can just block anything. But other than that, I don't know how you're supposed to do it if you're colorblind. God help you then. Which I tested that, by the way. That will block that one thing's attacks. Yeah, anyway. Greedy, greedy, greedy. I thought you said you learn from things. Normally I do, to be honest, but apparently not this time. Mind you, I had training wheels on. I had the Vigor Wasp, because that's the only thing I had at the time, but I'm still having this much trouble with it. And okay, when's the last time this thing's ever stood still? Can anybody remember? Because I don't. It just keeps moving. Oh, well, finally. You finally got... Oh, you hit it twice and it falls over. Oh, well. I don't think that hit the tail. I think that hit the tailbone, funny enough. Am I going to try it? Apparently I am. And I get that for my trouble. Stupid, stupid, stupid Barok. You got greedy before, and now you're getting greedy again. You're lucky you didn't get stunned. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But I can give out as good as I get. This is the end! I'm telling you, there's nothing better than a thing when it's charging at you and you true charge it in the head for the finish. There is nothing better than that right there, I'll tell you. I don't care what weapon you use. Because it's like, oh, you want a final showdown. I got your final showdown right here. Boom, and its head just falls off. I wish his head fell off. That'd been much more funny than that. Because I hate Legiana. Damn thing needs to go extinct. Funny enough, it's a lot easier with a hunting horn. Don't even ask me how. But it's a lot easier with a hunting horn. Not just because of the one hunting horn I have, which totally counters Legiana. I mean, any hunting horn. But you wouldn't think it would, because it's almost as slow as the greatsword. But it does have a lot more vertical reaching attacks. Kind of slow, though. But yeah, that was probably the second worst fight you'll ever see in this series. So that's almost as bad as it's ever going to get. So I'm sorry you had to watch that. That was pretty bad. At least by my standards, that's pretty bad. Oh, I was mad at Legiana. I was like, oh, you son of a bitch, you made me cart. You made me cart on camera. I'd carted plenty of times before this, off camera. But, you know, my image. I had to appear good. 20 minutes is about the slowest kill you'll ever see from me in solo. Which I find kind of funny. Not that I don't say this to try and prop myself up or stealth brag either, but you know, back when the game first came out around this time, I'd read threads on Reddit and people going, "Oh my god, I finally killed it!" And, you know, I killed it in 23 minutes. I'm like, that's great. I'm glad you killed it. I really am, but that's not a speed run time. Like they were trying to frame it as a speed run time. I was like, oh my god, 20 minutes. That took forever. It was just because I couldn't hit the thing. It was my fault. I couldn't hit the damn thing because I didn't take advantage of the tools I had access to. Anyway, it just annoys me. I don't like Legiana. I mean, I like the Legiana fight now, but back then, oh god. Anyway, this is my setup if you want to know my skill setup. Quick Sheath 2, Windproof 1, Critical Draw, Slugger, and Marathon Runner. You can see the uses for each, but that's going to be about it for today, everyone. Hopefully, I shall see you next week. Until then, everybody.